The year 2008, Beijing Olympics, August 11th. A 25-year-old from Dehradun stands at the shooting range, rifle in hand, carrying the hopes of 1.4 billion people. This is the story of Abhinav Bindra, the man who didn't just win India's first individual Olympic gold medal, but fundamentally changed what it meant to be an Indian athlete. Born on September 28, 1982, in Dehradun, Uttarakhand, Abhinav came from privilege. His father owned a successful business and the family had resources that most Indian families could only dream of. But here's the twist that would shape everything. As a child, Abhinav suffered from a chronic back condition called lumbago. Doctors advised him to take up a less physically demanding sport. At age 13, almost by accident, he tried shooting. And something magical happened. He displayed a natural aptitude that was impossible to ignore. What started as medical advice became an obsession. By the time he was 17, Bindra had already made history as the youngest Indian participant at the 2000 Sydney Olympics. Think about that for a moment. While most teenagers were figuring out their career paths, this young man was already representing India on the world's biggest sporting stage. In 2001, he won his first World Cup gold medal in Munich. The Commonwealth Games followed with gold medals in 2002, 2006 and later in 2014. But success has a way of setting you up for the most crushing disappointments. The 2004 Athens Olympics arrived with massive expectations. Bindra was no longer the promising teenager. He was India's genuine medal hope. And then came the heartbreak. A 7th place finish in the final. So close to glory, yet so far. For most athletes, this would have been devastating enough to consider retirement. For Bindra, this disappointment became the fuel for his obsessive quest for perfection. What happened next was unprecedented in Indian sports. Bindra didn't just train harder, he revolutionized how an Indian athlete could prepare. He built an Olympic standard shooting range in his home basement. Yes, you heard that right, in his basement. He used three-dimensional motion capture technology for training. He studied every aspect of his technique with scientific precision. His approach was monastic in its discipline, almost religious in its dedication. This wasn't just about physical preparation. Bindra understood something that Indian sports had largely ignored: the mind. Mental fortitude wasn't just important, it was everything. He worked with sports psychologists, studied meditation techniques, and developed what he called the inner athlete. His philosophy was simple but revolutionary. Excellence wasn't just about talent alone. It was about process, precision, and an unwavering commitment to getting better every single day. The 2008 Beijing Olympics arrived. Bindra had qualified 4th for the final. Not the ideal position, but he had been here before. The difference this time was 4 years of obsessive preparation. As the final progressed, the pressure mounted. One by one, shooters fell away. The competition came down to the final shot. Bindra versus Zhu Qunan, the Chinese shooter and defending champion. In that moment, with the weight of a nation's expectations, something extraordinary happened. While his closest rival faltered under pressure, Bindra held his nerve. His final shot scored 10.8, near perfect. His total score of 700.5 was enough. India had its first individual Olympic gold medal. The nation erupted. He was no longer just a shooter. He had become the gold man. But Bindra's story doesn't end with that golden moment in Beijing. He continued competing, finishing 4th at the 2012 London Olympics, missing a medal by just 0.1 point. The margins in elite sport are that thin. On September 5th, 2016, he announced his retirement from competitive shooting, but his impact on Indian sports was just beginning. Bindra had proved something revolutionary to India. An individual, through sheer professionalism and process, could win the highest honor on the world's biggest sporting stage. He broke a mental barrier that had existed for decades. His success inspired a generation of Indian athletes to believe that individual excellence was possible. His scientific approach to training, his emphasis on sports medicine and mental conditioning set new benchmarks for Indian sports. Today, through the Abhinav Bindra Foundation and targeting performance centers, he continues supporting athletes. He serves on the IOC Athletes Commission and the IOS Olympic Task Force, influencing sports administration and policy. His book, A Shot at History, My Obsessive Journey to Olympic Gold, details his immense focus on mental conditioning and remains essential reading for any serious athlete. Abhinav Bindra's journey from a backyard range to the top of the Olympic podium remains the ultimate blueprint for aspiring champions in India and beyond. He didn't just win a gold medal. He transformed the landscape of Indian sports by introducing a culture of precision and professionalism. He proved that with the right mindset, preparation, and unwavering dedication, even the impossible becomes achievable. In the truest sense, Abhinav Bindra was the architect of his own destiny, and in doing so, he became a watershed moment for Indian sports forever.